Welcome back to Faith and Future Reinvention podcast. I am Dr. Kay Hadley, your Faith and Future Reinvention architect, and I have a very important question for you today. Have you ever felt like there's a book inside of you, but you just don't know where to start? Well, today I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to create a powerful vision board and to map out your very first book. So run as fast as you can and open up ChatGPT. I already have mine open with the first prompt already queued. All right, hurry up, go open up ChatGPT. All right, what you need to know is that nudge that you got, that you felt, that you experienced about writing a book, and your subconscious just pushed it away like, nobody's going to read your book. You don't have time to do a book. You don't know how to write a book. You have no training. You don't even know where to start. All of those negative thoughts that come up, right? But the reason why you have that nudge to write that book, because you have something to share with others, right? I don't think anything that we do is something that is just for us. All right. In other words, the reinvention, the ministry, whatever you're doing with your job, I think it's an opportunity for us to connect with others in some type of way. And writing a book surely is a way to reach someone, right? Someone that's reading, right? Those thoughts, those mind thoughts, I call them, that we experience. And you have a way to influence someone's thinking through your experiences. So don't count yourself short. Don't count it out. I want you to start being motivated like right now. Get those juices flowing as we put into these prompts into ChatGPT so you can see how you can work through it, right? To create your first book. So this is not just about writing a book, all right? I don't want you to be like, there's so many books out there, all right? If you go to the library, a lot of department stores, there's books everywhere, right? Everywhere where books are sold, Amazon, everywhere. And some authors are getting others or attracting others, shall I say, to be able to buy their book, read their book. They have the marketing behind it, etc. And then there's books that are just collecting dust, right? Maybe the book was launched and they sold a few and it just kind of, the momentum really died down. I don't want any of that to distract you at all. The mission here is to create a vision board using ChatGPT as a tool to help guide you, right? It's not the end all be all, but it certainly is a tool that you can use to start, right? To start writing. All right. So this is not just about writing a book. This is about stepping into your new identity as an author, right? Reinvention starts. Remember, we had a podcast about that. It starts with vision. And today we're going to build it together. All right. Is that all right? All right. So let me turn your attention to the screen. Check out the first prompt that I have in here. All right. Which says, I want to reinvent myself as a first-time book author. Ask me 5 powerful questions to help me to clarify. And these questions are what kind of book I should write, who I want to impact, my life experiences that can serve others, my unique message or voice, and what success looks like for me as an author. All right, so I already plugged that in and you can see ChatGPT's response. This is a powerful decision. Already Chat is encouraging you about this new adventure. And here's 5 intentional thought-provoking questions to help guide your reinvention as a first-time author. So if you had a moment to plug in this prompt, I would be interested as to what you got on your end, right? What kind of responses you got back. I don't know if they're exactly the same as I have here, but your feedback is most needed and welcome, just to see what your results are. Okay, so here are the questions that came back. What transformation do I want my readers to experience after finishing my book, right? Gives you some guide there to think beyond the information, what shifts should happen in your mindset, confidence, direction. These are some things to think about before reading my book. They feel, and you fill in the blank, or after reading my book, they become. What impacts you want to make, right? Second question is, who is the one woman or person I feel called to help right now? Is there anybody that's top of mind to you right now that your book would impact greatly, right? The third question here is, which chapters of my own life carry lessons that others could borrow strength from? Fourth question, what truth, perspective, or message do I carry that feels too important to keep to myself? Right? This is your voice, your assignment. You see that? And if I could sit across from someone for 1 hour and pour into them, what would I say? What would I say with conviction? All right, something to think about. And then the fifth question here is, how does success looks like for me as an author, right? Beyond just selling books, right? What is the calling or the purpose that you see, that you have vision about writing this book and becoming an author? All right. So what I did was just to kind of move the needle a little bit. I created some responses that I'm going to plug in shortly. But just before I do that, I want to turn your attention to these suggestions or recommendation that ChatGPT says, from this point, if you would like, I can take your answers, and help you turn them into a clear book concept, or create your book title from it or subtitle, or outline your first 10 chapters and design a launch strategy that position you as an authority. So check that out, right? Look, you don't have to do this by yourself. There's information. This is machine learning at its best. So everybody that's using or utilizing ChatGPT every day, all day long, all of this information is being pushed in, right? To a point where all this information becomes available, right? ChatGPT, AI tools, they're learning. They're learning as we enter information. Just think of the vast information around the world globally that we can have access to. All right, just think of it that way. All right, I get excited. You guys already know how I am, so I might go off script, but bring me back. All right, so I'm going to grab my responses that I talked about, and I'm going to copy and paste them in here and see what ChatGPT comes back with. All right. So here are my responses to the questions that ChatGPT that we put in as a prompt. Remember that. All right. So here we go. So just to let you know some of the things that, I wrote here as a response is that I'm writing in an inspiring book about being courageous and not shrinking back when people don't like you, or people don't like me, right? Or when people reject me, right? What values, or I value my standards, I value my gifts, I value my talents, I value my abilities for the open doors that are predestined just for me. I want to impact people globally. And my life experiences consist of a decade shrinking back, being afraid to speak up and giving in to what others thought about me, right? People pleasing, all of that. My path to reinvention helped me to realize that it is time to think differently, right? Renewing my mind one thought at a time to manifest intentional results. So I took time to invest in me and to believe in myself for something more, something greater that not only transformed me, but others as well. My unique voice consists of strength and power and authority and grace. Success as an author looks like a bestseller for me, one of Oprah's favorite books, influencing many people around the world. All right. And here's ChatGPT. Okay. This is already a message with weight and purpose and global reach written all over it. You're not just starting from scratch, you're stepping into alignment. Okay? And this is where we would pause. I love this. This is where we would pause and, we would pray about this, because really our true alignment, is with our calling, our purpose that God has already predestined for us. And we're tapping into that. We're tapping into our potential, and we're trying to utilize our potential to the fullest. All right. And so we have this vision to be this author, to write our first book. And ChatGPT said, wow, this is all in alignment. Let me help you shape this into something powerful and market ready. Guys, do you see this? This is so cool. I just love it. So now it tells me your book at its core is refined direction. You are writing a transformational, faith-rooted empowerment book that's centered on courage over fear, identity over approval, purpose over people pleasing, reinvention through renewing the mind. This is not just a book. This is a movement for women who have been silenced, overlooked, and underestimated. Guys, I mean, think about this. If we were to sit down with a pen, pencil, whatever, piece of paper, and start to think about, writing our first book, how far would we get? Would we think this deep into it? Would we peel back the onion and really think about being intentional about the purpose of the book, the vision of the book, who we want to impact, what our life experience could speak, what life experience that we have experienced that would actually complement the book in a way that, when we tell our testimony to others and we're speaking about this book, we want to have something to say. Hey, I experienced X, Y, and Z, and this is how I came out of it, and this is how I moved forward and took the step of faith. This is how I was courageous through the process, etc. How long would it take us to do that if you were to sit down and write all this down? Would we have gotten this far? Does it take days? Does it take weeks? Does it take months? People sometimes they get like a burning fire and they'll start writing something. They might get through a few pages, and then next thing you know, the fire dies out, right? The sparks, it just dies out, or they just get writer's block, or they just don't know where to go next or what to do. So it kills the buzz. All right. But ChatGPT will keep you focused with questions like this, probing questions, digging deeper, and getting you to think, get your juices flowing. I'm telling you, take a Saturday or take a day, a few hours, and just play around with this and just see what you get, right? And don't just take the first output that you see here, because ChatGPT wants to give you an answer and it will give you a lot of information. I want you to read through it and prompt ChatGPT to either, give you more details, explain it as though, you're a novice. The first time you're doing this and you don't understand some concepts or, what direction or the context, whatever it is, you can ask ChatGPT to further define it for you guys. This is what's great about this. I'm telling you. All right, so get back to these outputs, this information that we've received. Okay, check it out. Your book message is polished. All right, we talked about here's a refined version of your message that can guide everything. It says, you were never created to shrink. When you stop seeking approval and start renewing your mind, you step into the life, the purpose, and doors that were always meant for you. Guys, is that not crazy? So the potential book titles ChatGPT is suggesting aligns with your voice. Here are a few strong ones. It gives me ideas. I will not shrink. Unapologetically called. No more shrinking back. Walk in your authority. She who stands. Chosen, not rejected. The courage to become from silence to sovereign. Woo, I love that. Becoming her without apology. I love that. All right. And then also for the reader, ChatGPT says you're speaking to women who have been overlooked, rejected, silenced, struggle with confidence, people pleasing. I said that know that they are called for more, but they just feel stuck. Have you ever been there? You just don't know, right? So you don't do anything. And before you know it, the days go by, the months go by, year after year go by, and you are still stuck. But no more today, because Dr. Hadley is helping you to think through this, right? By utilizing this tool. There are other AI tools out there that are also mighty, I think, as far as like helping you, just kind of guiding you through some questions that you need to answer, right? ChatGPT is not answering those questions for you, although it can, but it's best that you do this, because this is about drawing out what's already in you, what you've already experienced. Everything that you have gone through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is not for nothing, okay? God uses all of it for the next. All right. So remember that. All right. So back to ChatGPT. Your unique positioning. This is big. What sets you apart? You're not just teaching confidence. You lived the transformation. You blend faith and mindset and practical reinvention. Your voice carries authority and grace. Rare and powerful combination. Check that out. You are building from real experience, not theory. All right. It talks about, makes a good book is from good to life changing. This is exactly what is needed, right? For my first book. Now, it also has suggested chapter flow for my book. And you can see all the options here: the season of shock, the cost of silence, the voice inside of. You see how ChatGPT is forming this book for you. All right. And again, I want you to go and whatever results that you get, read through it very carefully. And then I want you to go and manipulate it and tweak it to what you're hearing with inside of you, your experiences. So change the names of the chapter, but certainly this is a starting point to get you to thinking, right? This is all about to get your mind cranking up, right? Get motivated, get that fire burning in you and start thinking, oh my gosh, this is great. All right. This is helping me to think through it. All right. So that's why I did this demo today, because I can't tell you enough as a certified AI consultant how important it is when I talk to people and I tell them just a few things about, what AI can do as far as the tools that are out there and how it could be life changing for you. And this is one of those moments. All right. So let's get to the next bullet point here, which talks about your success vision. It's an aligned strategy. You said bestseller. Remember, I put that in there. I want to be, my success factor is my book will be a bestseller. Oprah will be recommending my book, marketing it for me to people around the world. So it's an Oprah level impact. And that means the strategy should include a message that is universally relatable. You get that, guys? The tone that is honest, transparent, and empowering. Stories that make people say, that's me. A frame where people can apply immediately. So it's best to make it applicable, right? Where people can really see vision of a change in their life or a new way of thinking, or, coming out of the darkness into the light, wherever those graves have been for them in their lives, that they are coming out of the grave. The stone is being moved away and their life is renewed, right? Transformation at its best. Resurrection and transformation. Let me just add that. All right. So let's go on. And as you can see, ChatGPT says, let's build momentum. You definitely want to keep the momentum going in writing your first book. All right. Don't let it die down. Set aside time, already plan it out. And actually, ChatGPT, if you put a prompt in, will create a schedule for you just to work on your book. And if you don't know how to prompt, you can ask ChatGPT to create a prompt for you. There's a little microphone here. You can actually click on that and dictate and say, hey, ChatGPT, I really don't know how to put in the correct prompt. Could you create a prompt for me specific to creating a weekly schedule for me to work on my book? I only have 2 hours Monday through Friday to be able to work on my book, or I have so many hours on Saturday. Maybe I can work on it more. Sunday will be my rest day. Can you create a schedule for me of what I should focus on during that time? And ChatGPT will create the prompt for you. And all you got to do is copy and paste and put that prompt back in. All right. And ChatGPT will be able to give you an output. Remember, you can say, can you export that schedule to a Word document so that you can print that document, put it on your mirror in the bathroom, guys, or anywhere it will be top of mind to you. Oh yeah, the vision board. Put it on your vision board as well. So now we're going to move to our next prompt. Give me 1 second as I grab it. And ChatGPT has already done this for me already, but I'm going to put this prompt in. Give me 1 second. All right. So let me go to my next prompt here, which is basically help me to create my vision board. All right. Becoming a successful first-time author and break it into sections. All right. This is how specific you can be. Identify who I'm becoming, daily habits and routines, book completion milestones, lifestyle and income vision, impact and audience reach. All right. And so I'm going to plug that in. Let's watch the magic. ChatGPT is creating an image of a vision board for you. So it's not about just a picture or having pictures on a vision board. If you ever had an opportunity to create a vision board for yourself or been a part of a vision board class or party event, they use a lot of pictures, but it's not just about pictures, right? It's purpose is what we're trying to focus on. ChatGPT will give you a suggestion, an idea. You can always take the vision board and upload it to Canva, which is an excellent tool to use to take your vision board to the next level. All right. But today, for this podcast, I just want you to get a taste of what ChatGPT can do and how it can help you along the way when creating your first book. All right. So ChatGPT is waiting on that. And while ChatGPT is doing that for us, any questions that you have in the chat, I want you to be able to share that with me. If this podcast, has blessed your heart and you learned something new today, because that is my goal, to make sure that you're learning something new. All right. So here we go. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. I'm going to try to make it a little bigger. Let's see. It's actually shrinking back. Let's go the opposite way, which is really interesting. Well, all right, here we go. So let me move my little camera here. All right. As you can see, is this not exciting, guys? ChatGPT has our vision board done for us. You can make changes to it. You can edit certain sections. For instance, there's an identity section. If there's something here that, doesn't align and you want to change something under that, then just tell ChatGPT to edit under identity, who I am becoming, and just change the bullet points here. You can do that. Daily habits and routines are there. Book completion milestones are there. This is wild. I'm telling you guys, all in one sitting. All right. Let me change the size of this one more time. So I want you to be able to see it. I think that's the biggest I'm going to get it. But you'll see some of the image is kind of just rolling off the page. You can put in a prompt for that as well and just say, ChatGPT, can you redo this and make sure that all the content remains on the page, and ChatGPT will do it. All right. I don't have a lot of time on this podcast today to do all this tweaking, but I will give you these tips along the way so that you can be empowered to do it by yourself. All right. I believe in you. You can do this. All right. So you see lifestyle, income, and vision, 100K in books and royalties, impact and audience. See yourself speaking in any engagements that are out there, right? And if you're an introvert, don't worry, whether introvert or extrovert, when it comes down to this book, it's about sharing. All right. Get to the point where you're sharing your story to impact others. And when you get that revelation, you get excited and you want to share it with others. So if that's something you really see a vision about yourself doing, or maybe it's a smaller audience, change your photo. Maybe it's a smaller group. Maybe it's women's retreats or women conventions, or maybe church affiliation, any type of events they're having for their women. If you see it in a smaller circle, doesn't mean that you won't be powerful. It's just that you're targeting a specific audience, and maybe it might not be on a big scale like you see here. Okay. So you see bestseller here, but interesting enough, becoming a successful first-time author. I love this. I love the photo that they have in here. You can tell ChatGPT to switch the photo and then upload your photo to be a part of it. I could do that for you guys. All right, so I'm going to see if I can grab a photo of myself. What do I want to use here? Okay, I'm going to use this photo and say... switch photo of the woman in the I'm gonna say identity, and I'm not doing anything fancy about this section. Matter of fact, you know what, I'm gonna delete that and I'm gonna use the microphone. ChatGPT, I want to switch out the woman's photo that is under the identity section. She's in all white. She has very long hair. I want you to switch out that photo with my photo in this vision board image. So, as you can see, I use the mic to dictate what I think I want. I pretty much dumped that out and just told ChatGPT, switch the photo. Let me see what ChatGPT does. All right, this is a live demo. So what better way to learn just to see what ChatGPT comes up with. All right, so while ChatGPT is doing that, all right, actually prompted it twice, but let's see what happens with the sketch and see if the photo is replaced. I'm excited about this, guys. I pray that your heart is blessed today by this demo and that you are motivated to think about the impact you want to make, to really be serious about it. This self-work that we do that nobody sees us doing is so valuable because it's going to help you overcome fear. It's going to help empower you. I find that to be so true because, oh my gosh, I see the result. I find that to be so true And it says I can download it too. All right. Let me let it finish because it's going to do it twice, which is fine. All right. But let me finish my thought here. What I was saying is that the self-work that we're doing, that nobody sees us doing, is so vitally important, guys. It's important because it will help us light a fire in us, and it will help us to be more courageous, more confident about ourselves as far as our talent, our abilities, our gifts that God has given us to impact someone, if not many, whatever it is, right? But it's like quiet power, I call it. It's happening. Nobody knows what you're doing. You're taking the time every day to sacrifice, instead of wasting time watching TV. Not that that's a terrible thing, all right? But really taking your time and being intentional about growing and reinvention. Guys, I can't tell you enough how this will equip you and empower you. And while everybody else is whatever they're doing, okay, when the door does open for you, they're going to be blown away. Like, where did this come from? I mean, Kay is really impacting others. She's sharing. She's not keeping it to herself. I can see that she's courageous. She's confident, not arrogant, but confident to keep pushing forward no matter what. All right. No more people pleasing, really pushing forward to impact, because can I tell you, life is short. It's short. In a blinking of an eye, our lives can be over. I'm just going to say it like that. We never know when our time is going to come. Don't waste your time saying, I shoulda, I coulda, I woulda. Don't go through those cycles. Just do it. Let's get back to our vision board. I'm so excited. I'm going to have to cut this podcast because I'll keep going. And I want y'all to come back, all right? I don't want to spend all this time and you guys be like, oh my gosh, it was so long. All right, so what ChatGPT does here, give me the option to say, do you like this, Kay? And I'll say thumbs up. Yeah, I like it. All right. I want to make sure you can see it. There is an option to download error here, so I can download it. There you go. So this is the vision board, to make it a little bit bigger for you. As you can see, switched out my photo. And there's a little like light area here. And if that bothers you, like I said, you can upload it to Canva and tweak it. There is a functionality in Canva where it will erase blemishes for you. Okay, that's another tip for you guys. All right. So easy to do. Now, if I wanted to switch out these women as well, I could, but I'm fine with that. If I wanted to, in these photos, making a photo of me speaking to many people, I can do that as well. You can either dictate the brain dump, whatever the thoughts are in your mind, and ChatGPT will record that and document that and take it from there. And as you can see here, it says bestseller in the lower right hand corner, and over here it says bestseller. It meant to say best seller. Again, that's something you can correct in ChatGPT and just say correct this area for you and write it in just the way you see it. Replace bestseller with bestseller and it will update this. All right. It's a start and it has photos here. Maybe you want to switch out the photos. Whatever it is, I just want you to know that I want to empower you to be able to start working on this immediately. All right. So we're going to go back to ChatGPT and I think we're good here with the photo, right? And I'm going to shut that down and we're going to move on. Let me see if I have any more prompts for you. And I think I do. All right. So my next prompt is basically, let me put it on the screen for you so I can read it. It's to create a simple 90-day plan to help me write my first book. Include weekly writing goals and word count targets and milestones, accountability, and tips. All right. So to keep the momentum going, if you need to take your camera out and take a screenshot or take a photo of the prompt that's here and make sure that you put it in for yourself, because having some type of plan and it's subject to change, it's agile, but somewhere where you can just start and make sure that you're continuously working on your first book. All right, guys. So as you can see here, it says your 90-day first writing plan, overall goal, foundation. It talks about define the final book title, these weekly goals, that is, and create a chapter outline, 8 to 10 chapters. If you're thinking more, fine. Begin writing your intro, 1 to 2 chapters, your word count targets. Maybe you want it to be a big print read. Maybe you don't want a book where the words are so tiny and there's so many words in the first chapter. Think about who your audience is and how applicable you want the book to be. You want it to be powerful, of course, but at the same time, maybe you want it to be an easy read so that people will be motivated to read it. All right. Your first book, because I already see your second book. All right. I'm already speaking into existence. This is not only the first book you'll write, but you'll be an author of a second book and a third book and a fourth book. It'll be a series. So think about that too for your vision board. If you're looking to do a series where maybe an organization, it can be more of an educational tool to help people transform, right? Because so many people are sitting in a grave of self-doubt, of feeling like they're done. They're not wanted. They don't think they have anything to give. They don't think they have any special gifts. They don't think they're smart enough. They don't think that they're good enough. It goes on. And maybe, God is prompting you to do a series of books that's going to help women, right? Come up, right? And impact one another. Because like I said, it's not about just you being you're going to be impacted to impact others, right? It should always be like a domino effect, right? And I'm going to tell you, one way or another, we're all being impacted by something, someone, or influence. And we're either being influenced to go left, to stay in that grave and put more dirt on the grave, or we're coming out of that grave and there's a renewal, a rebirth, a resurrection, transformation where, we're impacting others. That's the legacy I truly want to leave behind. I'm going to tell you, it's not that I am, used to being open like this, right? And doing this on YouTube, no less, and knowing how many eyes it's going to lay on this and how many mistakes I might have made throughout the process of doing this. But I know that this is for the greater good, that someone else who might feel like me, see me doing this, and they'll be empowered to do the same. Amen. Amen. And so be it. All right. So let's move on. Word count targets. Maybe it's 5,000 words per week. If that's too much, look, 200 words works. Start somewhere. And like I said, you can always tweak this to work for you. Have ChatGPT export it to a Word document and manipulate it and change it into what you feel is doable for you. All right. So phase 3 is about completion. Maybe weeks 9 and 11, or it might be further down the road. Maybe you want to finish this within the next 3 months, 6 months, maybe no longer than a year. By the end of the year, you want to be finished with your first book. All right. And then we can get into publishing and all that stuff at another time. All right. So phase 4, you're polishing things up. And then your weekly writing rhythm is simple and sustainable. 5 days writing, 30 to 60 minutes. That's doable, right? And if it's not, you can change it to 15 to 30 minutes, whatever works for you. 1 day, light review, reflection, and 1 day of rest. And we always say that's the 7th day. Whatever your 7th day is, always have a day of rest to reflect, to re-energize, refuel, refresh. All right, so there's accountability strategy here. This is key. Declare your goal publicly. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. All right, we can. So I apologize. I'll go back up a little bit so you can see this. We talked about the word count, the milestones, first full draft complete, beginning, middle, and end aligned. Completion is your win, not perfection. All right. So remember that completion, not perfection. You could tweak it a little later. All right. The goal is to try to just stay on course, stay focused, and make sure you're continuously doing something to complete your first book. I'm so excited for you. All right, so weekly goals, we talked about that. The milestone here is clean, second draft, ready for editor, beta readers, or next steps. Talk about the rhythm in your day of rest. Accountability strategy is declare your goal publicly. All right, so maybe you want to post something on LinkedIn, Facebook, your audience community, week 3, 7,000 words written on becoming an author, one chapter at a time. Like I said, you can manipulate this to what's more realistic for you, or maybe you want to take it even further. You're like, I want to do 14,000 words, maybe twice as much, wherever you are on your journey. Just keep going, guys. The goal is to keep doing something. Stay focused with it. Don't let anybody steer you off track. Don't get into gossiping. Don't get into, these series on TV that will really kill your momentum and your thought process, because you'll just get to the point, I could wait a little bit longer. I got a little bit more time. Before you know it, your subconscious will push that thought out of your mind, and then your first book will not manifest. It will not be manifested. All right. All right. So create a non-negotiable writing time. All right. So whether that's morning or evenings for me, whenever I'm doing something that I'm working on, early morning works for me. So I'll get up around 4 in the morning. This is so true. No lie. And I have a room. I shut myself off like I'm shut off now. And I just focus, and I go in, and I'm in here for hours sometimes. My attention is like I'll plan for an hour, but I'll wind up being here for a few hours. And I know I got to go to work. So I go to work and come home, spend a little bit more time, and then I go to bed, and the cycle starts all over for me. But I try to stay very, very focused. So I just wanted to share what I do. All right, you want to track your progress visually. You want to use a simple rule. I don't skip 2 days in a row. Okay, so if you skip a day, maybe that's your rest day. Don't do Sunday and Monday. Don't do more than 2 days, because again, it might kill your momentum, right? And then before you know it, you won't feel like doing it. Bottom line, right? Anchor your why. Remember why you're doing this. Who do you want to impact? All right. And then the final truth, you don't need more time. You need consistent, intentional action. There it is. Be intentional by all means. 90 days from now, you will either be still thinking about writing a book, you're going to think about it, or you'll be holding your manuscript. Woo! I am rooting for you all the way. Okay. All right, so I hope this was instrumental for you, like I said, and life-changing. I want you to come back for our next podcast, which it's every 2 weeks at 7 p.m. So I hope you come back, and I'll show you some more demos as far as what can help you progress in life. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but as for now, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. Please, please, please share this podcast with others. Don't forget to select like, give me some comments there, and also to subscribe to my channel, because that helps others to find me. All right. Others like us, right? Who, we want more out of life, and we just don't know how to go about it, or where to get the information from, or to be able to have mentors in our lives that can influence us. I'm here to help you, and I would love for you to help me as well. Put your comments in the chat. Your way of helping me is letting me know that you've been blessed today. You learned something new. All right. Until next time, remember, you are becoming. Keep the faith, Stay courageous. Don't shrink back. Move forward. In Jesus' name, amen, amen. And so be it. Take care, guys. Thank you for joining today.